Tupac and Michael Jackson are two music icons who left an imprint on world culture, affecting millions of people around them, not only just for their music but their presence they had on people. Even though there was no similarities they had between each other, Michael was seen as his music-like prodigy since he was a kid, who evolved to a global pop star in the 80s who was seen as bigger than life. He broke countless records and evolved the sound of music, giving many African American kids hope and showing them that they can be somebody big and inspiring in the music business. While Tupac in the 90s helped push rap to be mainstream with his rough, rugged, unapologetic attitude and his uncensored political beliefs. Every personality trait you would think about Michael, Tupac was the opposite of. So it would have made sense that throughout their lives they would have had no interactions with each other, because publicly as fans we never saw it, so we assumed that that's the case. But in fact that would be further from the truth, and the collab between the two almost really happened at one point, but due to an artist's morals and respect, things didn't go as planned. And with both of these artists not being here anymore, it looks like that it will never happen. But starting out, it looks like things would have been rocking between the two, cause in the beginning of Tupac's career, he was very vocal about Michael Jackson and how he felt like he didn't do enough for the black community, with their greed being a prime example of what's wrong with America.
I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic, that's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way.
We're talking about some of the other people in this business that you feel don't have a love for their own people. Not really. We were talking about, you know, shall we name the name?
We sure shall. We were talking about Spike Lee, Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy, and the rest of them. Michael Jackson, Randy Jackson, Janet Jackson, Paula Abdul, all of them.
Though Tupac was in fact wrong about that when it came to Michael Jackson, with it being that Michael Jackson will donate over $300 million throughout his lifetime to fundraisers and charities, and still to this day his estate donates over 20% of his earnings to the needy, so it was safe to say that Tupac was wrong about that, in the sense of using Michael Jackson's name, but his message overall was right. In 1995, Michael Jackson will have a rare rap collaboration on his album, History Past, Present, and Future, with the Notorious B.I.G. on a song called This Time Around, and according to the engineer Michael Jackson, he wanted Biggie on his album. Biggie came to the studio and wanted to meet Michael, but they asked him to record his verse first. During his first take, Dallas and I looked at each other because it was spot on. I was impressed, and so was Dallas. We listened back and Dallas was like, wow, I think we got it. We took another take for good measure, but I'm fairly certain that we ended up using the first take. Afterwards, Biggie once again asked to meet Michael, and for security purposes, Michael's bodyguards would enter the room first to make sure everything was okay, and making sure that there was nobody that wasn't supposed to be there. So when Michael came in a little bit after, Biggie nearly broke into tears. I could tell how much he meant to him. Well, Michael, he could have that effect on anyone, even the most hardcore rappers. Biggie was tripping up on his words, bowing down and telling Michael how much his music meant to his life. Michael was as always very humble and kept smiling, while Biggie was just on and on how much he loved Michael. I watched Biggie just become this big butterball of a man, and it was really very sweet to witness. So it did seem that Michael Jackson was open to the idea of working with rappers, and it wasn't as impossible as everybody thought, especially with it being that he's Michael Jackson, whose name carried weight and was the biggest global pop star in the world. But for some people, they move off morals and integrity, and they're not gonna always view somebody or have a certain person on this pedestal, which it looked like for Tupac's case this was the reason why they never collabed, even though I've heard conflicted stories. According to Nia Poland, one member of the Outlaws, he said that Tupac told him that Michael Jackson wanted to do music with him. So he went to the studio and Michael Jackson wasn't there, and Tupac would ask one of the engineers why wasn't he here, which he felt disrespected by and got up and left.
Pac mentioned one time that he was called to the studio to do a song for Michael Jackson, to lay a verse. And he told his mother, his family, he was excited, and he went to the studio. He's like, where's Michael Jackson? And he's like, oh, he can't come, he wants you to lay the verse. He got up and left. He wasn't man enough to come say hi to me and speak to me. I don't want to get on the song.
Now I say this story is conflicting because Quincy Jones III, which is Quincy Jones' son, helped produce Tupac's 7 Day Theory album, and him and Pac were talking about wanting Michael Jackson to be on one of the songs called Thug Nature, so that way it could be on the album too. I set up a meeting at Neverland. I go up there and I told Michael about it, and do you know what Michael said? He liked Biggie, basically refusing Tupac's offer, which contradicted the first story that was being told by Napoleon. Danny Boy, who was a former collaborator of Tupac and a former member on Death Row, would come out to say that Quincy Jones III's story was false. Michael Jackson was a huge fan of Tupac and his album All Eyes on Me.
B3, Quincy Jones' son, he said that after Tupac died, he tried to get Michael Jackson to be on his Machiavelli album, but he said no because he was more of a Biggie fan. What you think about that?
Man, Michael Jackson picked sides in that. I don't fuck with Tupac. I fuck with Biggie. Shut up. Lies. I remember myself being in a meeting with Michael Jackson and the All Eyes on Me album being played for him. And Michael went crazy. So I don't see him saying that he messed with Biggie and not with Tupac. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, Suge and the Jacksons are very close.
I wish Tupac and Michael Jackson would have made a collab with each other. It's sad that they didn't, cause we missed out on a crazy song that they could have had together, but I guess it was just never meant to happen. But y'all let me know down in the comments, would you look forward to a Tupac and Michael Jackson track if they made a song together, or you think their chemistry wouldn't go together and it would just be overhyped? Y'all let me know. Be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Have a nice day.